think you're right. The market is so saturated with clothing brands. There's such a low barrier to entry. But I think that's what makes it easy for me starting it from my college dorm is that you can kind of just get started and see where you run with it. When I was initially starting out, I wasn't personally in fashion myself. I'm not super big into what I was wearing. I think what really stood out to me is that you could actually tell a story from a piece of clothing. And I wanted to, share my story or work with artists to, find a way to communicate with others, what our story can be. And our story is a lot about sustainability and trying to remove the doom narrative about sustainability that, it's impending. And we want to use humor and cool design as a way to communicate with our audience that are changing their purchasing habits towards more sustainable and moving away from fast fashion into, consumer trends towards slow fashion.
You also have a really cute and clever tagline, which I love and I'm embracing already, which is reverse evolution. So tell me about that and how that works into what you guys are doing.
Yeah, the idea is it started out with a little bit of as a joke, but we tried to tie the idea back that fashion can evolve backward towards slowness, craft, and connection while still moving the culture forward. I think everyone is moving at such a fast pace. It's hard to find the balance between, moving forward trends while still, keeping core to your ethos, moving towards slow building process, something that I think is missing. And I think that the consumer trends are really trending towards that. And we're just trying to rewire how we evolve personally, creatively, and environmentally.
Right. And like I said in the intro, obviously we need clothing. We're not suddenly going to all be walking around naked. And as much as we want to sit there and say we shouldn't buy anything else, the reality is we are going to purchase new clothing somewhere along our lives. And also, obviously people that are just being bored, they have to have clothes, right? So you said you were in your college dorm, you had no background in fashion. What led you then to decide I'm going to launch this brand? And try and make it have more impactful with a mission. Like, why did you even just decide to start doing something like this?
Yeah, as you mentioned before, I mean, there's so many brands out there with it being such a easy barrier to entry in the new age of social media. Anyone can create an Instagram post and start seeing if there's traction. I think I found an area opportunity in the market where people wanted more slow fashion, but also wanted the designs to be cool and speak to them. So we wanted to find a way to disarm the doom narrative about climate. And our whole idea at the time was that if you can make people laugh, you can make people listen. So the tying that back to reverse evolution, I think it's a nice tagline and it makes people listen and makes people try to think a little bit deeper about it. So once we had that idea in place, we were just in my college dorm and I made a design and then I posted on Instagram. Immediately it got some traction. So I knew there's a market right away. So I was just on my phone in my dorm room, maybe even in class, posting about it. And I was just getting lots of comments, replies, and it just started going from there. And slowly we kept growing. This is our social media page. We found like-minded people who are interested, commenting, and we have developed a community of people who are loyal fans and keep coming back drop after drop, and it's just gone up from there.
So you actually did some of the initial designs?
Yeah, some of the initial designs I was doing, but then eventually it sort of as it was growing, I decided that we need to work with better artists. I'm not necessarily a great artist on my own, but I like to think that I have a good eye for what can be or fit around that. So I look for artists that tell stories with their clothings, or we work together as a collaborative to bring my vision to life. And these artists that we work with for each design, they're not traditionally in the clothing space, so they don't have any background making clothes. They're more traditional, just traditional artists in their various fields. So I tried to find a way to have their art be placed on a piece of clothing and also tell their story or the story they want to tell. One example of that is we work with a UK artist, James Bywood, and he has the design about Ennerdale, and the piece is called "Reclaiming Ennerdale." And Ennerdale used to be a nice landscape in the UK. Then humans came and started building around it and started destroying the wildlife. But over the years, the wildlife has taken back and it's sort of regrown and taken back what it once left. So we really love that story, and that's like one of our favorite pieces that has sold so well throughout the years.
Yeah, I think definitely when people also, the designer aspect, I also feel makes people honor the clothing more and value it more when they feel like, oh, this is something special. It has a mission, it has a meaning in that, which I think is what you were finding within your audience. But